Hello everyone, welcome to the database management course, and this is the lecture presentation for week number 6. Uh, this is second to the last, already almost done with the course. I am sharing with you my entire screen of the desktop. Here is the list of two important objectives. One of them is to understand how to monitor and tune the SQL Server, which is from Chapter 7, and then to understand and be able to do some different kinds of backups for SQL Server. Here is the usual list of instructional materials. Here's the lesson plan, and here's the previous lecture video that I kept just for your reference, but after the current lecture video has been recorded, I will post the video recording link. There are a few other items here that you may want to utilize, but here is the list of assignments, which is only from the MCSA book lab activities. There is no Zybook assignment this week. There are three, basically, 7-1, 7-4, and 8-1. There are other items that you can do as an extra credit if you like. So I'm going to go through the lesson plan. So if you click on this, then you should get this lesson plan here. So just to get rid of the clutter, let me do this. So I went over this here. The assignments, let me go through that a little bit in detail. So 7-1 with chapter 7 is about the one of the important things of any database management system. And let me bring up the book. So give me 1 second. So this is the MCSA textbook text lab book, and the chapter 7 is titled Performance Monitoring and Optimization. And there are different things that you can do. So let's go over to the first one. Which is on page 241. The performance monitoring and optimization is often done not only on the SQL Server level, but also on the system monitoring and optimization level as well. So other platforms may work in concert with the SQL Server monitoring, because not only are you interested in observing the SQL Server performance, but as a user and as a system provider, you want to look at the overall system performance, right? Not just one particular item. But one of the first things that you have to do is in evaluating a performance or optimizing is to come up with a matrix in which you are going to decide whether what is it that you're going to monitor and what is it that you're going to achieve in terms of optimization. So activity 7-1 is the first of the steps in asking you to configure and decide on the data collection side so that you can efficiently monitor and decide on the optimization course. One of the issue that you may run into is when you go through this exercise, for some reason, some people have reported that they're not able to select all of the items that are listed in these collections. It's working fine on my end, but there may be some issues that are unique to the user. So if you are unable to collect all of the data, simply bypass that portion and continue, and at least get through the exercise so that you can see how the process is working. Okay, and at the end, you should get to. I think I just passed it. So you want to be able to look at something along this line, as well as yes, I think that was the page. Right? So. Right, so that's the graph that you want to be able to look at and analyze. All right. So let me pause. Let's get back to the other one. The execution plan. So let me bring up that page. So here's the activity 7-4. I think that's the right one. Okay, 7-4. And this is talking about the analyzing an execution plan. So when you want to optimize a performance, one of the things that we are mainly interested is the time that it takes to execute, because that's typically what a user will experience and complain about. Things are not running fast enough. It's taking too long. And that can be a problem, not only because it annoys the users, but because if a job takes too long to complete, then it may the result is needed for running another job that depends on the previous execution completion. So a lot of the companies will run a nightly job, and there are dozens of jobs that are running. And so if one job is taking too long and the other job is just waiting, it may just fail because of the delay, or maybe it needs some other special consideration to wait for it. But you cannot just wait forever because the morning is coming and the reports are due at some people's inbox. So this would be a fun and interesting exercise for you to do. Whether you are actually able to do this in the real job or not depends on your working relationship and with the developers and the managers who will decide on how to go about actually doing it. But at least this exercise will show you what one of the possible option is. And so when you get to the page 257, take a screenshot of the graph, and then you should be all set. Okay, so that's what that is. Chapter 8, so let me bring the page for that. Chapter 8 is titled Backup and Recovery, and while this is an important topic for any database management, it is almost never appreciated activity of a DBA or the network systems, because most users don't think about it, they don't need it, they don't want to take time to put money or effort into proper, efficient, not only backup, but also a recovery. One implicit question being raised from this topic is a disaster recovery and the business continuity that needs to factor to kind of put perspective and context of this chapter. Unless it is a large and committed company in terms of data, you don't get to see two vibrant backups and recovery systems in place, because it does cost time and money, and so it's just one of the most neglected aspect of database management. And of course, unfortunately, too many companies pay for it after the fact, and it is very costly. There are different ways to back up, and certainly there are. Let's see if I can get to that. Let's see, hold on a second. So there are many different types of backups that are available, and certainly there is a easy option of full backup and differential backups, and things in between, and other incremental variations of backups. But I'm simply asking you to do one of them, which is a full backup, which is not much because there isn't a whole lot of data that we have stored. But I'd like you to know what the process is. If you are using a database as a service, or if your platform is online, then the hosting company or the service company may take care of all this. And so a lot of times the online companies may be left out of the picture in terms of the types of backups and recoveries details. Um, if your system is on site and you manage the actual backups, then certainly there should be some combination of full backup and the differential or incremental backups. Uh, a typical, or maybe not typical, one common way that organizations use this is to do a differential or incremental backups during the weekdays and do a full backup on the weekends. There is also a question of how long do you plan to keep those backups, right? Do you keep it for the week, a month, or whatever? And those are some business decisions your organization has to make. Uh, but at least you want to be able to have an experience of how to do that. And so there are other extra credit that you can do. I'm not going to go into how to do these, but I thought it may be worth for you to try. And if you don't get it, then that's okay. At least you can try and submit some. But I'm not. It may be worth your time. And I thought some of them were kind of interesting, but thought it would be a little too much to cram it in for this introductory database management class. Anyway, so those are the assignments that I'm asking you to do. Let me say a few words about the course project. Most people have already submitted what they're going to do for the course project, and some are already making good headway in terms of what they want to do. But make sure that you refer to the sample project. So let me bring that up a second. So here you go. This is the week number 8, which is next week. I've given you just a sample project for you to view, and your structure should be similar, right? I mean, there are differences among them, but the basic skeletal and the architecture of how they are designed and tested out varies, but should be similar, right? So take a look at those and see how you can mimic them or get some ideas on how to do things. So try to get them done early. Try not to wait until the last minute because that just becomes very hectic. Just a last quick comment, which I will post after this lecture video, and that is as we are entering into week number 7 and 8, as typically happens, there are a lot of things going on, and such as maybe the graduation is happening in 2 weeks. The courses are coming to an end. The term is coming to an end, and so there'll be this would be a very busy time of the year. Although I have tried my best to respond to each and every request to be very responsive, my availability and response time may slow down during the next 2 weeks. So please plan ahead and accordingly, and try to get them done early. So as always, if you have any questions, email is probably the best, and I look forward to receiving your work, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.